Hey there folks, Rel here. In the background you'll see some HUD-less gameplay from PlanetSide 2 as I share some thoughts on better gaming. Today I'd like to talk about the concept of being graceful, and I'm not referring to being agile like a ballet dancer. I'm talking about the way that we move through our games and through our lives on a daily basis. Grace is knowing when it's appropriate to say something, when to hold off, and understanding how others are impacted by our actions. More importantly, grace is consciously trying to create better outcomes for the interactions that we have as we move through the world. That might sound ambiguous, but it's really not. A good blatant example of not being graceful is this tendency that we have to just rub salt in other people's wounds. When I was younger, I lived in a one-bedroom apartment. I shared it with a friend. Very confined space, and we were always at each other's throats. We were constantly being douches to each other, and there was really no reason for it other than times were hard. We had just graduated high school, and we were living paycheck to paycheck. Our lives weren't exactly where we wanted them to be. The absolute worst thing that we constantly did to one another was say, "I told you so." It sounds small, but we did it a lot, and it's just like we needed something. We needed just a little something that would make us feel more superior than the other person. Not because we are superior, but because we were young, because we're trying to lash out, or because we think that it somehow helps us validate our own existence. If you've ever played a seriously competitive game, you know that there is nothing more aggravating than someone who talks smack and can actually back it up. Because you can't do anything, you're completely and utterly helpless. It's that feeling of helplessness that causes us to get defensive, to point fingers, or just insult people, otherwise completing that circle of hate and adding more fuel to that fire. Both the "I told you so" and the reaction to it are emotional and spur of the moment. Being graceful is knowing when to say certain things, what actions to take, and knowing how to react to those situations. If your best friend just got dumped, you can tell them all the reasons that he should have seen it coming, or you can help console them. If someone gets in your face about something, you can be confrontational, or you can try to diffuse the situation. The point is that it's a mindful decision. It's not a reaction, not a habit, not something you just do. You are in control and you're guiding how the events will unfold. I think it's funny, some of the responses that I get through a tweet or in comments on videos, I could be putting out information that's genuinely helpful to people, and I'll still get people saying, "Sorry, but this is what I think." And they're not really sorry, they're just trying to veil their pathetic attempt at securing some sense of power or status for themselves. Instead of expressing their opinion alongside someone else's, they try to cut down the other person's argument. That's not grace, that's just immature. What you should be striving for, the real point of being graceful, is to create a win for all parties involved. When you're in an argument with somebody else, the point isn't to topple them and claim victory for yourself. The point should be that both people can walk away from the interaction feeling like the situation is settled, that both people felt like they were heard and that they were understood, and that both sides learned something. Maybe the result isn't what you had in mind originally. Maybe it's a compromise, or maybe you find out that you were wrong, and then you concede the point entirely. If both people walk away feeling like something was accomplished and that they're better for the experience, then that's the win that you're trying to create. So let's say that I'm playing PlanetSide 2. I'm running around, I'm shooting things, whatever, I end up getting killed, and the guy messages me, "Haha, I killed you." I could say, "Shut up, you scrub, you outnumber us 3-1, or I could say, "Nice work, mate." Even if he decided that I was being condescending, he still might not be sure. Either way, the next message is usually going to be the person trying to drum up a conversation with me, or they're going to stop messaging me entirely. But if I respond with the first one, "Shut up, you scrub, you outnumber us 3-1, I bet you anything that he does respond back, and that it's not the kind of interaction that's helpful in any way. So it's that small adjustment, being aware of what you're saying and how it will affect other people. Keeping this mindset, instead of instantly getting angry or instantly firing off or yelling as loud as you possibly can to make sure that your message gets heard, keeping the correct mindset is going to make you a better player and maybe even a better person. You could be thinking to yourself, why is this important at all? I have the freedom to talk and act as I please. Who cares if I choose to be a douchebag? And when it comes down to it, that's completely your choice. But shedding those juvenile mindsets are going to help us create stronger relationships in life, and others are going to care more about what we have to say. You're going to be the type of person who can lead teams and settle disputes. You know, the type of person that people care about hiring and promoting. I can't actually remember the last time where I've heard somebody say, hey, that guy looks incredibly selfish and immature, let's go follow him. I want him to be giving us the orders. And I'm not saying that you can't or even shouldn't lash out or be a douche from time to time, but also be conscious that you are doing it. When you get into a dispute, an argument or whatever, realize that, oh, I probably could have handled the situation better. And even if you're the type of person that thinks that they act on the internet completely different than they do in real life, I bet you anything that your habits and your personality is crossing boundaries without you even realizing it. If there's one piece of actionable advice that I can offer that will help you start developing this mindset, it's to remove the phrase, "I told you so," from your vocabulary. The other person is usually smart enough to understand that they made a mistake, especially when they know that your advice wasn't taken to heart. You told them not to go out on the ice because they'll slip and fall. So they decide anyway to go out on the ice, and then they slip and fall. Chances are they already know that you're right, and they're probably embarrassed about it. They know that they screwed up. And even if they're the type of person who doesn't easily learn from their mistakes, don't rub it in. Instead, I challenge you to find a way to genuinely help that person instead of trying to power trip all over yourself. If this video has been interesting, helpful, or entertaining, please feel free to like, subscribe, tell your friends about the channel, and if you have anything else you'd like to add, thoughts, questions, or if you'd like to share a story with us where you said something consciously that changed the outcome of a situation that could have been bad, then share that. Share that in the comments below. Thanks very much, folks. We're all signing off.